Today on the First Time Storytelling broadcast, my guest is Alex Bowser. Alex is a full-time network marketer with the health and wellness company Isagenix. Did I say that right?
Isog-
Isagenix.
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 Yeah, that's the
Isagenix.
one.
All right. He is an NCAA athlete and FSU grad with a law enforcement degree. Although his background before becoming a network marketer is in the wedding industry. He
Yeah.
took a left turn there somewhere. Alex is here to share the story of the first time he attended a network marketing convention. Welcome to the First Time Storytelling broadcast, Alex.
Hi, pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Ann. All right.
All right, well, let's get into this. How
Okay.
did you even get introduced to Isagenix? How did it get on your radar? Did I say it wrong again?
Yeah, no, it's a learning curve. I think it took me like a year to figure out the correct
Isagenix.
pronunciation.
All right.
Isagenix. It's like a Greek word for like total well-being on all platforms, like total body balance, something like that, I think. But yeah, so how did I get started with or introduced to it? So this story starts about a year ago, about a year and a couple of months ago. So last January, actually for the last 6 years, I'd been in the wedding industry, right? I started off as a music mixer, what we call them in for DJs in weddings. I didn't know how to plug in the gear, no nothing. Quickly, year after year, I grew to be one of the stars, and then I became the GM of the company, right? Well, when you become the GM of a company, you kind of get capped in certain ways. So I was working 6, 7 days a week for the owner's company. I was overlooking like 20 people, about 200 weddings a year, and I was sacrificing my health for somebody else's wealth. Okay. So all those gains I was getting in the gym, they weren't going anywhere because I didn't have time to get proper nutrition in. So for about 4 or 5 months, I kept thinking, I need something. I've been drinking protein shakes my whole life, and still those weren't cutting it. So I needed an actual like solid meal replacement. But then I got introduced to CBD oil, and I'd suffered a lot of concussions as an athlete back in high school. I don't remember how many I've had. I've had 6, 7. It got to the point where I would sneeze and I'd see stars.
Not good.
Not good, right? So I knew that I had something going on. Of course, I was stubborn, so I never went to the doctor. And I started doing research on inflammation and kind of what that leads to. I'm like, I hear this term a lot. What is that? And I felt like I had too much pressure in my mind. So I started doing research on inflammation, and then I got introduced to a CBD oil company. Took the product, it worked. Like everything reduced. So now my curiosity starts. Okay, what is this inflammation? What is this stuff? What's really going on? So I knew that the path of nutrition was on the horizon for me, but I was still putting all this time in with the wedding industry, right? So I didn't have time to do too much research. Well, my good friend Glory went to junior high and high school. She was with the company called Isagenix. She'd been with them for I think a year and a half, some change at this point. And she saw what I was doing in network marketing. And obviously we're both here in town. And she's like, look, I see what you're doing with the company, but you really got to come check this out. And I'm like, why do I got to come check this out? Like, this isn't for me. Like, I'm happy where I'm at. Like, I don't want to come look at this. She goes, no, like there's this woman, her name's Emily Vavra. She's building a team in Fresno. I'm like, who and what is an Emily Vavra and why do I care? Like, what is this to me? Well, she's like, look, we're having a meeting. Just come and at least support me. I'm like, all right. She pulled the friend card. So I go, and me and all my cockiness, because I'm an all-star DJ, I'm crushing it, I'm making decent money, and I'm like, what does this got to do with me? I'll just go support my friend. And I'd been with like other companies like Arbonne and Herbalife in the past, and then I was sitting in the meeting, and I'm like, what's the difference? It's the same thing. It's shakes, but I'm not piecing it together that this is what I've been asking for, and it's finally manifested right before me. Well, I ended up meeting Emily. She's some multi-millionaire network marketer, and truth be told, we all laugh about it now, but I'm not impressed. I'm like, cool, you're some beautiful millionaire. What does this got to do with me? I'm here to support my friend. Well, then I'm sitting there and I'm listening. And then like, I went to 2 or 3 meetings, right? After the second to third meeting, that's when everything started ticking in my head. I was like, wait, this plus this, and then like all these products, and I'm thinking, I'm like, it's more than just CBD oil. the demographic, and then I really get introduced to it. And then I was like, you know what, screw it, let's give it a shot. So I ordered some systems. And after the first month, I knew that there's something different about what they had to offer, not just in terms of like the product, but the people as well. And then that's when I got the offer from Emily to go to my first network marketing convention.
Okay.
And that's pretty much, yeah.
Oh, sorry. So you're not, because you mentioned you had been introduced to network marketing before. So you're no stranger to how that works. And you tried it before, and obviously you have some sales skills. So you're able to put those to work and get things moving. But those other products did not deliver on the expectation of even what you had as someone promoting that product. So this is all different. It has a different feel to it. And like you're saying, now the opportunity to actually go to convention comes up.
Right.
And what are you thinking at this point?
Well, at this point, so it's actually interesting how I was introduced, or the invitation to go to the convention was introduced. But as I'm sitting there and I'm analyzing these products, it starts to dawn on me that this company aligns with almost every gift that I have and that I want to give the world. Empowering others, giving people their confidence back, challenging perspectives so people can enhance their lives and live a higher quality life, right? I wasn't able to necessarily do that in the wedding industry. I wasn't necessarily able to do that with CBD oil because CBD oil is still an uphill battle. But as I see what's going on and what the company's core values are, I'm like, you know what, this actually aligns with me as a human being. Like the company's mission and the people that I've met are very similar to the vibe that I want to vibrate at frequency-wise. So I get invited to go bowling one night with Emily, and this is the invitation right here. So this is the night that changed it all for me, right? I'm still not totally sold on the company. I'm still feel like I'm being sold, and nobody likes to feel like they're being sold. And I still haven't figured out the big difference between previous companies and this company, but the feeling's there, right? So I'm thinking something's there. I just got to find it. Well, we go bowling, and it's Emily and the rest of the beginning of our Fresno team. This is back when we were super small. We knew what we were doing, but we didn't know what we were doing, right? And we're bowling, and we're just having fun, being geeks. And out of nowhere, Emily walks up to me, and she dead looks me in the eye. She goes, "If I buy you a ticket and fly you to Nashville, will you come with us to convention and meet the executive team?" So pause. Right? I'm from Denver, Colorado. I've been broken, homeless, drug abuser, all that stuff. But now life's handed me a left or a right turn, just like we were talking about before we started. You had a left and a right turn. What are you going to do? Well, a very beautiful woman that makes a lot of money and has mentored a lot of 6- and 7-figure earners in network marketing just said, "I'd like to fly you to Nashville to come meet the team. Will you go?" I think it was about like maybe a second and a half before I said, okay. So I was like, all right, Emily, I'll go. Let's go do this. So she goes, okay, great. I'd love to have you there. And then we just went to bowling. We didn't talk about it after that. So she goes back down to Santa Monica. And I think I connected with the team like once or two more, like a couple more times before I left. Well, they all flew out the night before, and then I had gotten my plane ticket, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, let's go meet up with these guys and see what it's all about. And then I got on the plane, and when I came back, I was not the same person anymore. That's a fact. All
right. Well, let's then talk about what happened. So Nashville, it's one of the, I haven't been in Nashville yet. There's few cities in the US I haven't been to, and Nashville is one of them. So you get to Nashville, and first day of the convention or checking in, like how, where do you start feeling right away, like the energy of what you're walking into?
All right. So I've never been to Nashville. I don't think I've ever seen a photo of Nashville, or at least downtown Nashville. And I certainly didn't know what I was walking into. Boy, was I surprised in all the best ways possible. So I get on the plane, fly out there. I'm like, all right, let's go check this out. Let's have some fun. And I've been to numerous business conventions before, so I know the power that they have. So anybody that's not even been to any kind of convention, go find one in your area of study, go check it out so you can connect with like-minded people. It's an amazing experience. But I'd never been to a health and wellness, let alone a network marketing convention. So I really didn't know what to expect. So I get off the plane, I get in the cab, and first thing I notice is it is hot. It is humid. It's 9 o'clock at night. WTF? What is going on? What is this? I'm from Fresno. We don't have the humidity over here, right? So I get in the cab and I'm talking to the guy. We're talking about, we're talking about politics, the crime rate, things like that, this. And he's like, the Nashville is pretty surprising. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised with everything that you see here. I was like, okay, cool. So we drop off. I get to the hotel. I don't even check in. I just drop my bags with the concierge because everybody's already out. It's nighttime. So I find out where they're at and I start walking. And to my surprise, downtown Nashville has got it going on. They're like, if you could take all the best things about Vegas and literally take all the bars and clubs, stack them side by side, and they're all 2- and 3-story clubs with bands and bars and rooftop DJs for about a half mile, and it's full on each side with thousands of people walking around. That's what I walked into. So already I'm thinking like, okay, this is a good choice. I'm all right. I'm with this. So we go out, meet up with the team. They're having a good time. I start playing catch up. We start bouncing around. Just everybody I met. Like, this isn't even Isagenix related. This is just the people of Nashville. I'm bumping into people. People are talking to me like we're best friends. And I'm like, dude, this is cool. Like, awesome. I'm not totally used to this. And then we have to be up early in the morning. So we're like, all right, hey, we had some fun. Let's go cash out. And it's just our Fresno team. I haven't met anybody else yet. So we go back to the hotel, we crash out, and then we wake up, we start getting ready, just like everybody else. And then that's when the energy of what I knew people operated at started to change when I was introduced to what these, like I don't want to say diehard network marketers, because not all network marketing companies are the same, right? Some are, it's like all the different banks, like all banks are different, same, you walk in, different vibes, same thing. But then I start understanding what a true network marketing powerhouse company is like. And then that was a fun turning point. But yeah, when I first got to Nashville, first thought was, man, it's hot. And then I was pretty excited by what I found.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about. I mean, I've been to Austin and I lived in New Orleans and I'm not in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar to those environments, and I definitely heard that Nashville has that, plus it has a little twang
A little bit
to it. So, all right. So the first morning, how does the convention kick off?
Right. So opening day, you have obviously like registration. There's just hundreds of people walking around from all walks of life. And anytime you're around a group of like serious network marketers, the vibe is always going to be different. Their thought process is different. The energy, the way they speak, how they develop relationships with complete strangers and become best friends within a matter of minutes is quite inspiring. Really. So I'm walking around, and I'm from the wedding industry. So I kind of have that vibe. I'm used to walking around a lot of people. I'm used to everybody being happy, the best night of people's lives, but I'm only used to it on certain days. And it's usually the day that everybody is drinking and having fun, celebrating, right? I'm not used to it at 9 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's just full of energy in the morning. And these are people that have been taking the products for years. And then this is also when it started to dawn on me that products really do have the power to change people's lives. And we could jump into that a lot further, but I'm walking around, we're getting all of our badges, and just everybody's dressed professionally. Everybody's laughing, everybody's giggling, because they don't know what's coming. Like they're excited. This is like round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for them. Here I am, this little like pleb, and I'm just like, oh, okay, let's go check it out. But everybody from all walks of life, didn't matter race, religion, politics, none of it. Everybody was engaging with each other, talking, groups running around. It was like, I don't know if you guys like watch like Harry Potter, but it was like the first day of Hogwarts. Everybody's just so excited. And I was like, all right, I can dig this. This is cool. And then we get our badges. We're just mobbing around. I think we had connected with a few other people on the team. So obviously just a lot of introductions. I mean, we're meeting people that are models, book writers, stay-at-home moms. And like, that's the thing about what I also learned on this trip about network marketing is network marketing people, it's not, they're not special people. They're average people that just got introduced to an opportunity, just like you, just like me. And, they took it and they ran with it. So a lot of introductions, all walks of life. And then we start going in, we start sitting in the conferences, big, huge auditorium. I think there's like 10,000 people there. It's all dark. They have light shows going off. DJs rocking the house. I'm like, this is borderline network marketing convention, personal development, low-key rave. Like the DJ is throwing down. I'm like, because I'm a DJ, I'm like, all right. I legit have lasers and a little bit of fog. Giant, huge LED screens, 3 of them, massive stage. It resembled like a TED Talks, but way cooler with the lights. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting this. Because I go to, in the wedding industry, it's, those barren halls, kind of like you're in a 1970s college auditorium, and you have the speaker up there. And then the testament to a great speaker is they crush it. Great presentation, this, that. But that's an expert in the wedding industry who's been doing this 10, 15 years and rocked hundreds of weddings. The people that start going up on stage, they've been doing it for a while, but they were the stay-at-home mom that somehow became a millionaire after heartbreak. What? How does that work? And we get to start hearing these opening testimonials and these welcomes. And then that's when I was like, all right, I made probably one of the best decisions of my life when Emily said, will you come to Nashville with us? And I said yes. And I was like, all right.
So at what point are you sold and like making certain decisions? Like, I'm going to be on that stage someday. I'm gonna like, is that going through your mind as things are unfolding?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always known I'm going to be on stage someday. It's just my career path, my experiences, my why. And I watched hundreds of hours of motivational speakers like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, all those guys. And my story, I always felt my story connected. I was like, okay, I could see myself really being on stage somewhere. And I figured it was always going to be for the wedding industry because of all the experience that I have. But then I start paying attention to these people. And I'm like, well, I most likely will do the wedding industry speeches at some point just because I have to give back that knowledge that I've attained. I'm now connecting. It was about the second day where I wasn't even questioning. I was like, okay, I'm going to be on stage for Isagenix one day. There's no question about that. It's just, what skills do I need to learn? What information do I need to learn? And how many lives do I need to change before I'm up there doing and giving this experience back to other people that I'm now receiving? Because that's what I love to do. I love to take in a lot of experiences that empower me, internalize it, and then somehow get it back out to people. And it's about the end of the second day when I'm realizing that I have the power to do that. And then this company, this vehicle can help me get there and help me impact lives further. So it's about the second day.
Okay. And how long was the convention?
Convention was 3 days. And it's, I think it's like 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. I don't remember the exact time frames or how many speakers we saw. I think there's like 5 or 6 speakers every day from all walks of life. And my Instagram story, I had like 60 videos. So anybody that was on Instagram that day, they literally had to tap through my feed. Like, oh man, I set a record that day for sure, just because I was so impressed with the stories that these humans, these people were delivering. It was like, I've seen millionaires in the wedding industry not talk as good as stay-at-home moms. And I was really impressed by that, really impressed.
Yeah, and all they were doing, sharing their testimony, right? Just sharing what happened to them.
It was, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they delivered it from a different place that I don't think too many people speak anymore. And that was coming from a true humane basis. It wasn't that they were here to try and sell their book. They weren't here to sell us anything really. They weren't even here to sell the product. That's not why we go to convention. Nobody was there to, hey, buy this, do that. That's not what it was all about. It was people, I don't want to say abandoning social norm, but realizing that there is so much more power that we all have to live a life of abundance, and to watch people achieve that with like-minded people was in the passion that they had and delivered it with. That's what got me. These weren't some experts. These guys didn't have PhDs. They were an everyday person that had a soul, that had a fire in their soul that they reignited, and they were pouring that into thousands of people live. And you could just see it, the look on everybody's faces while they were getting it.
So when you were on the plane on the way home, what were you thinking then?
I was thinking, how do I make this happen? Like, what do I got to do? Like, I mean, just, I was thinking a whole bunch of things, but I was still, I don't want to say tethered or captivate, or I was still tethered to my previous job. And we were just going into the wedding industry, right? So wedding season, you have the wedding industry has 2 seasons. You have spring, which hits hard, then it dies down in summer. And we're just about to go into fall. And I'm thinking, like, how do I make this work? But I still have prior commitments. I was still commissioned for, or contracted for, I think like 9 or 10 weddings that fall alone. And then I still had to prepare like another 80 weddings to set records. So I was still sold and had to commit to this company before I could really go here. So I was trying, like, how do I make this work? And I stretched myself so thin. I ended up getting the worst case of pneumonia. In fact, some people say I ended up with COVID at last fall because I had never been that sick. So I was wiped for an entire month. So I couldn't even really do anything. And all that energy that I had kind of got simmered down because reality and life hit me back in the face. And I had to deal with a lot of things back home before I can really take Isagenix to the next level. And it wasn't until COVID that I could finally do that. So it went on for, I think, 6 or 7 months before COVID hit, before I really made the transition out and went all in with network marketing.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, again, I've been to conventions, never a network marketing convention, but that's one of the things with convention where they do fire you up and get you all hyped, and carrying that on for the months to follow is a challenge. Although you still had your team, right? I mean, you still, and that makes a very big difference. And I think that's why for a lot of people, that's something that works, is because you do have the support of a team always there. Absolutely. To keep you encouraged and motivated and teach you how to get it done. But so it sounds like it was absolutely a life-changing event that is still very much being written. Like, it's, where it will go is you're living it right now.
Yeah. And then to kind of just touch back on the convention, because there's still so much more, right? I had never seen like 300, 400 people get up on stage that have lost over 100 pounds. And to see the look and the transformation in people. And this is when I started connecting dots, that the power, what we put in our body truly determines how we live our life. With CBD oil, it was just the CBD oil. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying CBD oil. I'm a huge believer in the benefits of it. I mean, I got books on it, done research, personal testimonials, what it's done for other people. But that doesn't get your sexy back. That doesn't get your confidence back. And that doesn't get your intimacy back with your spouse that may have been lacking for the last 4 or 5 years because you didn't feel like you look good in the mirror. But when I met those people that told me those stories, and they're very upfront, network marketers, they're very open people, we're very vulnerable people, because we learned that that's where the power is. Hiding from the past and things that have tethered us is that doesn't, it prohibits or inhibits progression in our lives. And I learned that with at the convention. Is I'm looking up and I'm seeing all these people that simply lost weight. Well, when they were able to do that, and you see the power and the look and the joy that they have and the energy that, I mean, they're like celebrities. I met this one woman, I think she lost over 300 pounds. She's able to finally give birth. Everywhere she went, she was just, everybody's running up to her, telling her they loved her. Complete strangers. They're hugging. I mean, you can't really do this. I mean, we wouldn't do this because of COVID now, but this is totally pre-COVID, when people are just running up, hugging on each other. And I was like, wow, there's this synergy here I didn't experience at any other company. I didn't experience it with any other network marketing company. And not saying that other teams like that don't exist, but I hadn't felt it. And simply the people lost weight. And then I found out that the company had over 330 millionaires. I'm like, wait, hold on. The company has developed over 330 millionaires in the last 10 years. I don't know any other company that has done that either. So now I'm thinking like financial opportunity. I'm like, okay, there's a system in play here to really get people over 6 and 7 figure earners. And these guys didn't go to college. They didn't get PhDs, or at least most of them. A few of them did. There's doctors and stuff like that, and a few actors and models that we had met, fashion designers, and they were totally cool. We wanted to just hang out with them. They're taking pictures, laughing with us. There was like no hierarchy. People, millionaires on stage would come down, get loved on by their team because there's no millionaire without the team, and vice versa. And I was just like, wow, the synergy, the love. And when I walked into the room for the first time, and especially the gala night, when I walked in, I'm a DJ, and I really feel the empathy and energy of others. It's what I've been doing for years. I can walk in a room and say, like, okay, what do we need to do to increase the energy, keep it the same, or change it, right? When I walked in, I felt unanimously everybody there vibrating higher than me. And I'm a vibrating dude, like no pun intended, but I'm like, when I walk in a room, like I like to think I'd bring the energy to the room. I had to play catch up with the most of these people. And I was like, okay, this is a level I need to get on. I need to stay on. I needed to help other people and guide them to get on this level too, because the way these people are living, the way that this group specifically, this should be the norm, in my opinion. And then it furthered my belief when all this negativity hit with with COVID and the riots that have been happening with Minneapolis and everything. And there's so much negativity in the world. And even though we're not in convention, my team, they're still hosting meetings every single day. We have a lot of people in Minneapolis. You could just feel what they're going through. But because of the community, sense of community and positivity, it helped a lot of people during these times. And it just kind of goes to show that it doesn't have to be the convention. The convention was the doorway to see like the magic genie, right? Like the magic genie was the convention. Products are great, mentorship's great, but that genie, like, wow, the genie was great. And then the remnants of it just kept trickling. And I was like, okay, I have a much better understanding what a true network marketing company is now. And then we're able to, it took about a year process, but that's because it was on me and I kind of held it off.
Right.
But once I made the decision to like, okay, let's really give this a lot of my attention, I was like, okay, we could do this. We could easily do this. I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, thankfully, the first time is doing the friend duty. So being a good friend then led you to many other firsts and many other realization and walking through a bunch of other doors. And that's the magic of life is to, even though you weren't open-minded about it necessarily at first, you were still saying, all right, well, I'll be there and I'll check it out. And, there's different resistance that we do have towards things. I know, I've had different exposure, and network marketing for a lot of people makes them cringe for a variety of reasons because of what their exposures to it have been. And then, the type of person that you are and all of that stuff. Like I've had a lot of people ask me to join their team, and it's like, I'm a true-blooded entrepreneur. Like I want to create out of nothing something that doesn't exist. Yep. Like I love that things do exist to make it a lot easier for people, but somehow I want to be in the true pain of the entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. And it is, but it is when you connect to who you are and what's important to you, and you went a few different ways and you were true to your commitment to what you had to the wedding industry. And it sounded like COVID was kind of a blessing in disguise, where it's crazy how for some people the pandemic has been a blessing in many different ways, because they were running too ragged, they were doing too many things, and they weren't seeing the time and the opportunities, and then everything stopped. And then they were able to grab the times and opportunities. So it's kind of like life has a lot to offer if you just explore it.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of my philosophy come from is, remember that we're all human and we're here to experience life itself. And to just do one thing for an extended period of time, I feel like we're missing out a lot. And before we started this, the way you said you said it so beautifully, to open people's minds to more firsts. And I think that was really, really well said. It really was.
Thank you. Yeah. So Alex and I, before we started, I tell them we are the sum of our experiences. And, and because one of the other saying is you have to do what you've never done before to become who you always wanted to be. You're going to stay exactly where you are unless you're willing to step into those things that you've never done, never explored, never thought about. Because there's the things you've thought about that you've never done. And then there's a whole other world of things that you don't even know exist. So you don't even know you should try them because you don't even know they exist. And if you stay in your day-to-day comfort zone, you will never know all of those things that life has out there ready for you. So it's great that people have come into your life to kind of say, and the opportunity comes, you said yes. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. And then you embrace everything that opportunity had to bring. But what I also like that you said, and, whether it's an opportunity or people talking to you, you'll take the information, internalize it, figure out what it means to you, and then come back out and have a thought and a decision around it. And that's also very important to going down the right path, in life, is that you do take the time to say, okay, what does this mean to me? What do I think about it? What am I going to do with it? Is it applicable? And sometimes you're just going to sit on it, but eventually it's going to pop back up and it'll start making sense as long as you brought it in. And I don't know what your process is, but there's plenty that I bring in and I shelf. And I know when the time comes, because the brain's a beautiful thing, it's going to bring it back to the forefront and say, remember that? I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. Now I know what to do with this information.
Yep. It's oddly the perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's learn a little bit more about you and let's play the first time lightning round. All right. So for everyone, the way this works is I'm going to ask Alex 10 different first times, and he's going to kind of act like if he was on the app. And if it's something he's done before, he'll say up. So you would swipe up on the app. Something he's never done, not interested, we go left. And if something he's never done, would like to do, we go right, and he would add it to his list. All right. First one, play hopscotch. You've done that. Yep. As a kid, what was your first hopscotch experience?
I don't remember, but the furthest back I could think would probably be first grade.
First grade.
That's the furthest I can go back, because tetherball is wall ball, hopscotch with a little chalk that you X out. I don't know. Do kids still do that these days? Do they still
I think some do. Yeah. I think it's one of those. It's one of those because one of the things I encourage people right now is to do things that are simple their first time, and buying some chalk. And if you don't have kids, like if you're a grown adult and you've never done hopscotch, go get some chalk and do the hopscotch. I don't even know what it's called.
Just do hopscotch.
What would the actual numbers, like the drawing the actual thing? Anyways, just
you go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Then drawing on your pavement and have a go. Just amuse yourself. That's if you know how to amuse yourself, you'll never be bored. Okay, made a crowdsourcing investment. So crowdfunding investment.
Crowdfunding. Definition real quick.
So it's investing. So Kickstarter, there's a couple platforms where you invest in.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Interested, would like to do, have not done.
Okay, so we go right. Go to an 80s party.
Oh man, I've been to 80s party many times.
Do you have a go-to costume?
Yeah, well, so my buddies back in college, we woke up one morning, we said, you know what, we're gonna go roller skating. So we went and hit a thrift shop, and we all got dressed up in 80s garb and a bunch of that stuff. And then we went to the roller rink, and we were just mobbing around, having fun. And we had groups of kids coming up. They're like, are you guys professional dancers? They want to take pictures with us. Total 80s on a whim. Just wanted to get out and do something fun. That was fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, write a poem.
Done it.
Done it.
Done
Go
it.
bird watching.
Love it.
Love it. Really? What's
Oh,
the
yeah.
what's the what's the your biggest find? Like as far as
They
like
have a lot of
rarest thing.
personality. Yeah, they got a lot of personality. Well, I would say more so birds of prey. Like for instance, perfect example. Yesterday, my buddy and my roommate and I were sitting out in the back in the pool, and we're watching this squirrel on this line. He's running, but there's two doves. They're both sitting on the power line, and you see the squirrel trying to punk them, right? And then you see the squirrel punk the birds. Well, we instantly knew that the birds didn't like that because they flew down further, so the squirrel had to go again. Then they didn't let him pass. So you could really see real life the personality that they had. I was like, that's something, huh?
Yeah, I had a couple weeks ago, I had a first time with birds. I had a bird actually like attack me. So I'm walking my dog and I felt something in the back of my head and I'm like, what the? And I turn around and there's this bird. And so I keep walking and he comes back and I'm like, what? So I'm like waving my hand. I'm like, I'm getting attacked by a bird. This has never happened to me before. And I asked on Facebook, apparently the type like protecting their nests and this bird coming at me. And I'm like, holy cow, freaky. Thankfully, he was not going after the dog. So that's good, I guess. So we just haul butt out of there and decided to take a different route the next day. Okay, meditate.
Every night.
Do you remember your first time meditating and what a challenge that was?
I think it was by accident. So my favorite time to meditate is actually when I'm going to sleep. And I've discovered that between consciousness and the subconsciousness where you're asleep, right? As you're starting to drift down, there's a little area where the mind can play, or at least my mind. And it's when your body's asleep, but your mind is still awake, you still hear the things around you. And that's where I found a lot of good ideas are. And actually, I'm able to like kind of categorize and shift things around. So the first time I was able to do that was actually in the morning when I just woke up and I kind of went on the couch and I put my head back and I was able to start shifting things around in my mind that I'd never been able to do before. And I was like, wait, whoa. And I woke up, I was like, what was that? And then I was like, oh, that's a solid form of meditation. I was like, oh, wow, it's actually real. You can really do things in there and shift priorities around if you pay attention to what's going on. So since then, it's pretty much almost an every other night thing where before I go to bed and there's like that little area where I bounce ideas and, oh, I just remembered I have a notepad and I always force myself to wake up and write that thought down. Otherwise it vanishes and I get upset. So I just remembered I have a list that I need to attend to this morning. See, I already forgotten. That's why you got to write the list down.
Awesome. Okay, ride a dirt bike.
Done it.
Done it. How old were you when you were first on a dirt bike?
We were in high school and we were mobbing around, my buddy Casey and I, who is now the father of my godchild. We were mobbing around with a couple ladies and the girls were so much better than us. I'd never done it. These girls are just jamming around the backyard. We're going like 50. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm holding on to this girl and she's just smiling. I'm like, ah. Like I was like 15 at the time. But that was a really fun experience, hitting some jumps. And I watched my buddy fall. That was scary, but he was laughing. So I was all good. It was a good vibe.
All right, awesome. Okay, go watch a hockey game. So a live hockey game, doesn't matter what level.
Yeah, done it.
Done it. Make yogurt.
I can say that I don't think I'm too interested in that one.
No, all right.
Nah.
And last one, volunteer as a local firefighter.
I would love to do that.
All right,
that's something cool.
We're adding that to the list. Okay, well, that wraps up the first time lighting round. Now, is there something that we didn't talk about that is on your list of things to do, to try for the first time?
Absolutely. And this is probably where people are going to think I'm a little crazy. So my girlfriend and I, well, we found out we have the exact same birthdays in year, right? We were born 4 hours apart. And so throughout the relationship, we're always like uncovering new things that we had in common, like really weird things. Well, we were just hanging out one night and she's like, what's the number one thing you want to do on your bucket list before you pass on? What's the number one thing? I was like, okay, let me show you. So I pull out my phone and I already had it in my photo gallery. So it's not like I like did research on what hers was. I'm scrolling through because I knew exactly where it was. I get the picture and I show her. And it was a photo of a gal who was free diving with no cage with a great white shark, and she was holding onto the dorsal fin. And I said, that's something that I've always wanted to do because it requires a mixture of remaining perfectly calm, being courageous, and being in tune with nature. And I've always been infatuated with that trifecta, right? Well, I show her the photo and she's like, her head's behind the screen. She's like this, and she goes, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. She goes, are you stalking me? I'm like, I think this is like the first month, right? I'm like, no. She goes, that's what I want to do before I die. My number one. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But free diving with the great white would be something that I'd love to do.
Okay. I will just say that I'm an anti bucket list person. So I hate bucket lists.
All right. Well, you set me up on that one.
Here's why. Well, I know I did. Well, because and that's what's interesting. I kind of set up all my guests, right? Because when I ask, it always defaults to something big. And not that there's anything wrong with having big things. Like I want to learn how to fly. I want to learn to play the piano and the guitar. Like I have accomplished a lot of the other things that,
with this.
But it's, what can you do today? Like, how can you maximize living today? Because if you're focusing on what you want to do before you die, you're not focusing in the present and what matters today and maximizing today. And you will get faster to what you want to do if you're focusing on today versus, well, I want to do this before I die. And it requires all of that. And, you allow yourself to put it somewhere, although you have it close by because you said you have it on your phone, but you said it requires 3 things to do that. So what can I do today to be, courageous in the face of danger or a situation where I'm nervous? So, and then the other things, being closer to nature, which it sounds like you're very observant of nature. So that's one way of doing it. Well, what new thing can I do that continues to build that particular skill, and so on and so forth?
That's actually a quite interesting flip on that. When you actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm inclined to agree with you, because when we say I want to do that before I die, that denotes the thought that you have time, but in reality, you don't have time. You don't have time to wait before you die. You have to do things now to experience life. Otherwise, you won't experience life. And then I think that also stems from a certain level of a combination of, I think, 2 things is not running your own race. And fear, it could be, there's learned fears and then there's taught fears. And a lot of people operate on a taught fear basis. I was taught that this is wrong. I was taught that, for instance, network marketing is bad. Well, just as you explained, the person that had that exposure was probably by a bad person. It's like the similar thing of like a gang member coming up saying, hey, join my gang. Now you think all gangs are bad and you're not going to join anything that has to do with that stigma. So I think those 2 bases right there.
So I use it. I use the terminology founded and unfounded fears. So founded fear is it happened to you. So you have a foundation for having that fear. And those fears are probably more difficult to face because you do have to reprogram, like you have a certain outcome that and now you have to go into it, detach from the outcome and work towards a different outcome. And then the unfounded fear, it never happened to you. You're right. You picked it up somewhere along the way. So you can either identify where you picked it up, reprogram that, or like sometimes I think it's worth saying, just screw it. Doesn't matter where it came from. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to have the experience. And it goes back to why you should have first time experiences. I'm going to have the experience so that I have the knowledge and understanding of it. And then if the outcome is negative, then you have to go back to, okay, well, you have to have a proper planning process, right? It's like, was I the best prepared that I could be to do this, to get a different outcome? And then so we have like a manifesto, the 365 first challenge, but it's a lot of racking and stacking so that you understand, effects and consequences and how to prepare for things and how to ensure that is the best that it is, how to detach from the outcome, and all of those things that create the proper mindset and sets you up for, and I don't even say success, but sets you up for the experience and what that experience has to teach you. Not that, so I'm not a success promoter. I'm not I think it's abundance of, and I know you use that terminology probably that way too. It's abundance of experience, an abundance of love. It's abundance of, it's not about financial rewards. If you learn to live life to the fullest, life is going to offer you so much.
That's Simon Sinek has great philosophies on that. That's a finite mindset while we're talking infinite experiences. Because the achievement is one thing that's finite, though. That's a title that could be taken away, that could be gifted. But the person you become and what you can give with your love and compassion, that could be infinite. And those experiences are worth way more. So I think a lot of people, you're right, kind of sometimes achieve those titles, but what you become, and I think is much stronger.
Yeah. And so in the program, the Maximize Your Journey program, we talk a lot. So way back in 2005, when I first left the Marine Corps and I went to life coaching, and I decided it wasn't for me because I move at entirely much faster pace. And I have a tough time with people not being able to do it that fast. But I had created the Loop of Confidence, a confidence development process, which now the 365 First Challenge just has built on that like a much higher level. But one of the things in that, and in confidence development that we still talk about, is that it should be all internally based. It shouldn't have anything with any external factor, because you're right, all of those you can lose. And, weight is a perfect example, and you do feel great when you lose the weight, but the one thing, there's so much right to losing weight, and it is eating right, but it's a mental thing, right? So emotional eating and all that stuff, you have to work through that. So odds are you might yo-yo with your weight. So if that constantly impacts your confidence, then your confidence is based on how much you weigh, not who you are, what you're able of doing, what you believe about yourself. So it's like establishing what your true confidence is rooted in, and it should always be all internal things that no one can take away from you. Only you can decide to give it away, and that's something very difficult to get to, but it requires you figuring out who you are and what you're made of.
Yeah. I was thinking about that concept not too long ago, because I often reflect, and for me, like, I look around and I have all these things, and if it was all taken away from me, I really feel like it wouldn't faze me, because you can't take away who I've become. I have these skill sets, right? And it took me literally having to be homeless to understand that. Now, I'm not saying, guys, go be homeless. I'm not saying sell all your possessions, but I'm saying if you can learn through people like me and vicariously like leech that lesson, everything can be taken away, but who you are is the most important thing, not only for you, but your family.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. My first go around as an entrepreneur, I lost everything, foreclosed on my townhouse. I mean, a friend had to lend me money because I would have been homeless, had to lend me money so I could rent a room. And, it was extremely humbling, but it was extremely eye-opening that I really don't need a whole lot to live off of. And that no matter what, no one can take away who I am, what I know, how I can apply those skills. And, I can bounce back and get back into it. And yeah, so although there were other things happening at the time too that ultimately got me to a breaking point, but that's one of the things that I learned. And even though I've established a home now, if it was taken away, you know what? quite frankly, it's also freeing because you're like, oh, I can go live anywhere. I can
Yeah,
go do
yeah.
anything. I am
Yep.
not attached to anything. And that's a very freeing things to do instead of being so scared that if you lose it, that's it, game over.
Yeah. It always brings me back to the famous Tyler Durden quote from Fight Club that only when you lose everything are you free to do anything. And I'm like, man, that writer was so good to put that in that movie because it's so true. It's like when I lost everything, I was like, I'm free. I could go. Like when I quit my job to transition to network marketing, and I was making decent money. And thank God I had the side income stream because the wedding industry stopped with COVID. But once I left that GM position and I didn't have those tethers behind me to corporate, I felt like the genie from Disney where he gets the bracelets off. And I'm like, I can live for me now. I don't have to pour all my energy into that. I can do me now. So I felt like I was truly free to do anything. And since then, it's been such a pleasant experience working with people. So
Awesome. Yeah. And sometimes it's better if you can consciously make those decisions, but sometimes life will make the
force
decision
you.
for you. And then it becomes, how do you react to what life has given you? Because more than likely there is a silver lining there. You just have to, have the mindset that it's going to come and get through it, and then you'll find it. So, well, we could keep talking about this.
Yeah.
Clearly topics that we both absolutely love. But I've taken almost an hour of your time. So thank you.
I loved it.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your wisdom and so many other things that you've experienced with us. And I'm sure that to those who have been listening and to those who will listen in the future, it will absolutely make a difference.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. And best of luck, guys. Have a good day.